folks. Zach Elliott at Feel Free to Argue, and wanted to do a vlog because it appears that the FBI has declared war on the peace movement. Probably people in the peace movement felt that that had been going on for quite a while, but they're getting a little bit more overt in it. Just in the last 36 hours, let's see, how many offices? They raided 8 homes and offices. They had a couple people who had been raided, and a former member of the FBI on Democracy Now! This morning. It's amazing hearing these experiences, These are just, people who are very serious about their, anti-war activities, have actually gone to other countries and tried to meet with people, revolutionary forces in some cases. But, I was under the impression that it was still okay to engage in free speech and to support human rights and stuff like that. I'd be interested to see what the FBI comes up with, because honestly I think they're going to come up with absolutely nothing. Certainly nothing that I think I'm going to be able to look at and say, yeah, that's a threat and that needed to be taken care of. I'd be very surprised if any of that happened. I think it's very interesting because you have to look at it in the context of kind of how our rights are being eroded in a general way. And I mean, specifically now I'm talking about privacy rights. The whole sense that there's any aspect of your life that may be at all private. I mean, when you were hearing about these people this morning, listening to Jess Sundin and Joe Osbaker, the 2 of the people who got invaded this morning, talking about, how violated they were. And of course, their organizations that they work for, all their computers were taken, all of their correspondence, all of their information. Of course, these things are soon going to become a thing of the past. I mean, they're not going to have to go in and do the smash and grab on you in person. They're going to have all their ducks in a row before they even come to get you, because they're getting more and more access to your life and every aspect of it. There's just no real privacy anymore. So, when this, Jess Sundin was talking about her and her partner and her, first grade daughter watching, these guys from the FBI go through all their stuff, all their private material, all their letters, all their correspondences, her kid's artwork. Those are the parts of it that just kind of really got to me. I mean, I know all of it's really bad, that, you shouldn't be violated like that. And, these organizations should have an ability to function without getting harassed from the government. But, just, the FBI going in and looking at, Mr. Osbaker's, his teenage son's poetry. It is about invasion of privacy. It is about government coming in and saying, look, you have no privacy. We can come in and we can put a camera in your toilet that looks up your ass and there's not a thing you can do about it. So all you got to do is live a life so that we don't want to do that to you, because that's the only real freedom you have. I thought it was really funny when our government got so upset about the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia potentially not allowing BlackBerries, because it was completely hypocritical. The Saudi ambassador, the UAE ambassador even said so. He said that the P.J. Crowley condemnation contradicted the U.S. government's own approach to telecom regulation. Well, what was he talking about? Surely we're not as bad as Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, these little dictatorships. Well, we may not be. We may not be. But we certainly are aiming that direction. There was a really scary article in the New York Times talking about a proposed piece of legislation from Obama that he's probably going to unveil next year, of course, after the elections, which is going to try to make it, well, let me give the description from the article that I said. All services must be able to comply with wiretap requests, including the ability to intercept and descramble encrypted messages. And they're talking about everything. They're talking about like person-to-person talking on Facebook. They're talking about Skype. They're talking about, you know, encrypted emails that you think you're sending, you know, safely to another person, and there's no way that they can look at it, that anybody can look at that. They want to make it so that there is none of that, and that if the government wants to get into any aspect of, you know, your communications with anyone, that the person providing that service to you must have a way to allow the government to do that. Yeah, so you have no right to privacy whatsoever. Zero. Zilch. Anything you think is private is about to go away. And it is going to go away because there is no howl of outrage. And I think Glenn Greenwald, as he so often does, pointed out the exact reason why that is the case. This is the quotation from him. "The last decade of invoking the all-justifying, scary mantra of terrorism has reduced much of American citizenry into a frightened and meek puddle of acquiescence, which not only tolerates, but craves a complete deprivation of privacy." And I think that's exactly where we are. I mean, the majority of people have been beaten into this, like, you know, place where they're just so afraid of everything, that they're unwilling to make the big step, which is, we've got to tell these institutions that your job is harder. Yes, it would be wonderful for you to have this ability to go into anybody's house whenever you want, or to listen in on all of their phone conversations and, you know, do whatever, whenever, but you don't get that. Your job is harder. We won't give you that because we won't give up the rights associated with those things. And until there's a groundswell of people who get up and say that, I am not frightened. I don't want the government to have this ability because I am more frightened of this government ability than I am of the thing it's supposed to protect me from. You've got to say that. You've got to make that an explicit thing. But not enough people are doing that. Not enough people are going to do that. We're just going to remain this meek puddle of acquiescence, and we're going to wake up one day, and the only right you're going to have is to cheer on our imperialist wars or shut the fuck up. That's going to be your whole range of options. You're not going to be able to say anything against the government. You're not going to say anything against our policy. You're not going to threaten any kind of disruptive action whatsoever, whether it's harmful or not, you know, to human life. You're not going to get to do any of that, because when you plan it, when you talk to your friends about it, on Facebook or Skype or on the telephone or in a secure email, the government's going to listen, they're going to come to your house, they're going to take all your shit, they're going to put you in jail, they're going to serve you with a subpoena, and that's going to be the end of your life. The surveillance state is here, people. All it takes is like a few more laws, and everything that you've ever been afraid of is going to be totally codified. It's going to be here. It's going to be part of the system. Most of it's here already. Most of it's here already. There's a few seasonings to make this miserable soup complete. And then we'll have absolutely no right to privacy whatsoever. But hey, it's been Zach Elliott, and you can always feel free to argue. Have a great week, people.
Sooner or later, the people in this country are going to realize the government does not give a fuck about them. Government doesn't care about you or your children or your rights or your welfare or your safety. It simply doesn't give a fuck about you. It's interested in its own power. That's the only thing, keeping it and expanding it wherever possible.
Now I know what FBI stands for.